Okay, thank you so much once again. My name is Sadek Shahadu, the steering committee member for the Wikimedia Language Diversity Hub, and also founder and executive director for the Bane Wikimedia Community. So this, I don't know how your responses will be with regards to the questions. I have all the questions available in English, even though we are looking for responses in local languages, if that is possible. So should we do the interview in English or in Igbo language? And then if we agree to do for Igbo, which means we'll be able to provide a transcription for the responses that we'll provide. So let me know which one works for you. Are you okay with English or Igbo?
English works for me.
Okay, great. Right. So ideally, we were supposed to do one interview at a time, and I'm happy to have all of you join together. And what it means is that we can do one responses as we record this session, and we can do one response and then continue with the rest of the other responses. So I would like to engage Tochi for this particular session, but Lucy and Esther can just be on the call to add if you have any contribution to what I'll be asking. And also if you have any clarification, it is also an opportunity for you to observe how the interview will go. And then when we get the chance to engage you as an individual, then you'll be able to, you'll be well prepared. So for this interview, we'll have Tochi being the respondent and me being the interviewer. And Esther, Lucy can just be observers, and also feel free to chip in if you have any question at any point in time. I don't intend to stick to this call for very long because we all have other things to do, and I wouldn't want to take much of your time. So before we start, I would like to remind you that we are recording the session, and please try to speak one at a time and clearly, so it's easier for me to hear, and also it should be very clear so that people watching the recording can understand the responses and questions very well. And also remember that even though I know you very well, the interview is not just for me, it's for other members of the community or the research team as well. So please give me answers as simple and clear as possible. So my first question is, Tochi, could you tell us about or describe your language and its state on the internet, not just Wikipedia, on the internet in general?
All right. Thank you, Sadiq. Actually, the state of my language on the internet, I wouldn't say it's in a good state, and I wouldn't say it's in a bad state, but I would just say that we have content out there, reasonable amount of content, but not so much so much to cover every topic or every sphere of life. And then we have some, should I say, some topics and subjects or resources that we need to have on the internet, but they are still not yet on the internet in Igbo language. So for now, I wouldn't say it's 100% good or the state is 100% bad, just there. But then a lot of people and volunteers are doing their best to see how things can come up.
Excellent. That sounds really good. And I see a lot of effort from the Igbo Wikimedia Community and the energy, so many activities going on. Thank you so much for sharing with us. My next question on this particular warm-up is, can you describe how you became a contributor to Wikipedia? That is, when you started, how did you get involved in Wikimedia projects, and how was your first encounter with Wikimedia projects or Wikipedia like?
Okay, So two things actually to Wikimedia project. The first thing was coffee, and then the second thing was the fact that I was going to translate. So I'm from a language background. I studied foreign languages, and then I've been trying to promote my own language. And when I heard when a friend of mine, Blossom, was like, hey, can you come and join me here to translate some documents in Igbo language? There will be coffee. So those two things I love actually were the things that brought me into the Wikimedia team. That was how I became a Wikimedian. And then on that day, I started learning about Wikimedia. I started translating articles, especially the very long ones. I loved those long articles. And that was how I got in there.
Wow, that is very interesting. I see like everybody gets into Wikimedia projects in different ways. Some of us got into like the Wikimedia community by accident, just attending a workshop that is totally unrelated to Wikipedia. And then you meet one person and the person be like, oh, do you know of any this community? Can you contribute to Wikipedia? Do you know how Wikipedia works? And that was how some of us joined. And very interesting to know that people have different ways of connecting to Wikipedia and actually becoming very important members of the community. Thank you so much for sharing. So my next question would be, what made you decide to participate in this particular research project? I called on so many people, and then you were able to respond to me. And as a leader of the Igbo Wikimedia Community, why did you decide to participate in this research project?
First of all, like I said, I have a language background. So anything that has to do with languages interests me. That was one of the reasons why. Then secondly, because it's you. And thirdly, I would like to also help as many researchers as possible to make their work come to life, because personally, I do research works and I know what it means, and for you to organize people, for them to respond to your surveys or your interviews. So yeah, I also wanted to help from that angle.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. That was really nice. And I think I can resonate with this because I also work with language activists, global voices, and also at art and feminism. So I'm very happy that you have a background and you have a special interest in this particular language digitization, and you are using Wikipedia to support your work. Thank you so much for sharing. So my next questions would be on technical stuff, like things that relates to technicalities around Wikipedia and Wikimedia in general. Can you describe the process of writing a Wikipedia article in your language? So if I jump into the Igbo Wikipedia or Wiktionary or any language, any Igbo Wikipedia project, for the purpose of this, let's just narrow it to Wikipedia. Can you tell us how you begin an article on your language Wikipedia? What is the process?
Okay, for us, on the Igbo Wikipedia, you first use the search box so we don't duplicate articles. Once you've searched it and you see that the article does not exist, it comes up with a red link. So you can click on the red link for you to start adding your article. So once you click on the red link, you see the editing area, that's the empty box. Or if it is the visual editor, yeah, it still comes up with empty box, and the cursor starts blinking for you to write. So that's how we write. And when you're done, you publish. But if you're translating from English to Igbo, all you need to do is also to go through your user contributions. You click on the translation. Once you click on translation, you impute the article. So that is also another way of searching, but this time it's translation. If the article exists, it tells you that this article already exists. If it doesn't exist, it will tell you the article, the number of people that consult the article in a week, and then you see an icon that says start translation. So you can start translation, which is the content translation. That's how we write articles on the Igbo Wikipedia.
Wonderful. In that case, can you tell us how you select an article to write? So just wake up and maybe you feel like contributing to Wikipedia. What sparked your interest in like choosing an article for your language Wikipedia? Maybe somebody wants to contribute to like female biographies. Other people find things around their environment and they just have like passion to contribute to items or Wikipedia articles in that particular topic. In your case, how do you select an article to write?
Okay, so for us, it depends. If we're having an editathon and then it's based on topics, then you can now select one of the already, should I say, listed ones we have. But for people who just want to contribute on their own, they can decide to contribute to something that has to do with culture, maybe to women. For example, in my community, we do a lot of things that has to do with women and culture. That's how we select our articles.
Great, thanks for sharing. But do you usually translate articles from another language or languages?
Yes, we do.
Which language?
Sorry?
Which language do you normally translate from? Is it from another Nigerian language or maybe a bigger language, or you have a way of translating content? Is there a particular language that you normally translate from?
For me or for everyone in my community, there are people who translate from Yoruba. There are people who translate from Hausa. Personally, I translate from English to Igbo, sometimes German or French, so it just depends.
Wonderful. So could you tell me what are the major technical challenges for your language contributors in terms of like the script that they type in, and then if there are special technical challenges that you face as a language committee?
Okay, so our major challenge is IP block. That is our number one challenge. Then we don't have issues with the keyboards and all that, unless the person doesn't have an idea of that. But we have keyboards. We have the Igbo keyboard, which we can find on either Google Play Store if you're using your phone, or the Microsoft Swift key. So we don't have that challenge of keyboard. The keyboard is already available.
Oh, okay, good. My conversation with other languages, they mention different things, and I'm happy that individual communities or people in different locations have specific challenges with regards to technicalities. But yeah, I think the IP. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that we have other people from my community as well. Lucy and Esther are here. They can also talk about maybe the technical challenges they have or they encounter personally. But these ones are major.
Yeah. So Esther, Lucy, I'm happy to hear from you. There are any technical challenges that you face outside the scripts, Latin characters, or maybe keyboard related challenges?
Okay, apart from what Tochi said, IP block apart from the IP block, there's no other technical challenges that we usually experience, since we already have the Igbo keyboard and nothing much. So that's it from my own side.
Great. Okay, how about Esther? Hello, Esther, can you hear us? Okay, so whilst we wait for Esther to speak, I think I cannot hear Esther, even though her mic is on. I'll move to the next question. Or were there any special technical difficulties for you in your community with regards to like the Wikimedia incubator and the process of getting your language approved? For instance, when you were contributing in the incubator, what were the technical challenges after you moved out of the incubator or in the process of getting your language Wikipedia approved? What are some of the challenges that you faced?
Okay, when we faced different challenges. One is that if you're contributing to the project, it feels like you're not adding anything at all, like it was stagnant at a point, it wasn't reading. That was one of the challenges. Then the second challenge we encountered was people were having difficulty, like it's easy for you to go to Wikipedia, the Igbo Wikipedia, and put up an article because it's already published. But then the incubator feels more technical, and someone that contributes to the normal published Igbo Wikipedia encounters a little bit of difficulties contributing to the incubator. Then when it was published, okay, before it was published, another thing was that we tried to keep constant activity in the incubator. Then they told us it's been approved. That was last year to leave the incubator, but we still ended up spending one more year before the final approval for 2 of our projects to leave the incubator. And now those 2 projects, the Igbo Wikiquote and the Igbo Wiktionary, they've left the incubator. The problem we have at the moment is that our previous contributions haven't added up. We have up to 2,500 quotes and more in the Igbo Wikiquote, but at the moment it's still reading 313. So we've complained, and the technical team says that we should give it time, that everything will add up, but it's still a cause of worry because when you search the articles, actually you find them on the Wikiquote, but on the interface it still reads there are 313 quotes in this wiki. So it's that's one of the major challenges we're facing at the moment. But apart from that, yeah.
I can relate to this very well. I remember when we also came out of the incubator in 2020, it was the same thing. We created so many articles in the incubator, and after we moved from the incubator to the main language wiki, we lost almost half of the articles. And when we contacted,
this is more than half.
Yes, they were like the Wikipedia articles needs to meet like a particular threshold. So every article should meet a particular requirement of a standard Wikipedia article. So that was the reason why all those articles were lost. And so that is what I preach with to other smaller language communities that are still in the incubator, that they should try and understand the threshold, what requires of a Wikipedia article and the standard, so that when they are creating them, even in the incubator, they will try to fulfill all the requirements for each Wikipedia article before they try to move out of the incubator. Other than that, they will just lose, just like you said. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I really understand that very well. And I hope that they will find a way to get them back.
Yeah, because ours is Wikiquote and Wiktionary, so it's not like it's Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really require so much, but we are hopeful and we'll keep waiting, as they said.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Did you feel a change in motivation to contribute to Wikipedia after becoming published? So when you were in the incubator and you came out of the incubator, did you feel a change of motivation?
Yes, so we felt there was this motivation. In fact, we had more motivation to contribute more because, I mean, like what we've been working so hard to bring out of the incubator is now out here. So we have this zeal now to contribute because our project now has its own URL and not the whole incubator /m or /wiki/ this one, that one. So we can just say ig.wiktionary, ig.wikiquote, and everything is just straightforward. So we feel more motivated to even give people our project URL now to contribute and also to contribute more. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Could you also tell us what device do people in your community use more often when they are contributing to Wikipedia?
Mostly mobile.
Okay. All right.
A higher percentage use mobile than PC.
Okay. In other words, people are contributing more through their mobile phones than computers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then my other question is your community active on other Wikimedia projects? If so, which ones are you active on?
So like I mentioned, we're active on Wikidata, we're active on Wikiquote, Wiktionary, Wikicommons for now, and then Wikipedia like one.
Awesome. Does your community reuse or have plans to reuse Wikimedia projects or materials from Wikimedia or Wikipedia outside your current Wikipedia scope of work? Do you plan to reuse Wikipedia content outside Wikimedia?
Okay, do you mean like the articles we've written, if we plan to reuse them, or I'm not sure I got that clearly.
Okay, so
yeah, I was trying to for you to clarify the question. I didn't get it clearly.
okay,
I mean,
right,
do you mean like using it outside of Wikimedia? I'm not sure I got that.
Yes, for instance, the Ghana Wikipedia, the Wikimedia communities, they were able to create audio pronunciation of files which were used outside Wikimedia projects and has been reused by the Natural Language Processing Ghana organization to train their AI machine to understand the Ghana language. So that was a Wikimedia project, and the content were from Wikimedia Commons, but has been used on outside Wikipedia projects like the Kaya app, which is like a language translation and speech recognition application. So I just want to understand if you have done something similar like that, or maybe plan to do that.
Okay, yeah, we have something similar, although it's people who use it and not, no, I wouldn't say, maybe I might not know everyone, but there are people who have used it, like the author, Chimamanda Adichie, when she consulted the Igbo Wikipedia for some things, some years ago, she was like, on Twitter, she tweeted that the people behind the Igbo Wikipedia and the people who have been contributing to the Wikipedia about the good stuffs we have there. So it simply means that she was using it for something else. That was what brought her attention to it. So I would say yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for all these wonderful answers. And I really appreciate your time, Esther, Lucy, and Tochi. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. So I would like to end this session here, and then I will get back to you on the questions are divided into two. So we'll continue with economic challenges, and then other educational knowledge and social activities. And I wouldn't want to take more than 30 minutes of your time. And I'll get back to you. And as and when you are available, we continue with question 3. Is that okay by you?
Yeah. So I would also like to suggest that Esther, okay, so in my community, we have what we call community coordinators. So they coordinate communities in their own catchment areas. So it would be cool if they could also answer, like in regards to the communities they coordinate, they can answer the other questions as well. Hello, Sadiq. I'm not sure. I don't know if you got me clearly.
Hello?
Yeah, it seems you were having network challenges.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you from my end.
Okay. Sorry. I got disconnected. I think it was my plug. It wasn't connected, was why my battery wasn't charging. So it just went off before I completed the last sentence. So I would like to proceed. Tochi, do you have some few more minutes to spare with us for the economic questions?
Okay, so I was suggesting before your network went off.
Okay.
So Lucy and like in my community we have what we call coordinators. Like hub coordinators, and then Lucy and Esther are also coordinators. Like they coordinate hubs in their fan clubs in their catchment areas. So I was trying to suggest that it also be cool if you can get opinion from them in regards to their economic should I say state of their various catchment communities. I don't know if that sounds cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. So if they
So you can get
share,
diverse opinion.
yes, that would be great. So Esther, would you like to contribute to that? Or Lucy, please feel free to go on. Hello. Hello, can you hear us? Esther? Sorry, we cannot hear you, Esther.
No, I can't hear you, Esther.
I can hear everyone now.
Okay.
I can hear everyone now.
I can't hear Esther, but I can hear Lucy speak.
Yeah, me too.
Would you like to contribute to that, Lucy?
Okay, can you rephrase the question? I didn't get it clearly.
Well, we were talking about how you reuse or plan to reuse projects outside Wikimedia. I think that was the last question. Is that correct, Tochi? And Tochi suggested that we get some diverse opinions.
Okay. Yeah, we've answered that. I meant on question 3, the economic
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So yeah. So the question 3 has 2 parts. One has to do with individuals, like as an individual contributor, and then your community in general. And I'm happy to hear that you have all of you are like leaders of the community. So first of all, Tochi, would you like to share with us personally what are some of the economic challenges you face when you are contributing to Wikipedia, or what are the limiting factor for you when contributing to Wikipedia? Can you describe that first as an individual? How and why?
Okay, as an individual, it will be data and then time. So data in the sense that we are both Africans and we live in Africa, and we know that internet data costs a lot in Africa. So that is one thing. So if you are unable to afford internet data, you wouldn't be able to contribute. So sometimes when you're out of data, you wouldn't be able to do anything much. Then another thing is time, having to, should I say, make out time between family,
work, studies, and all that to be able to contribute as well. So those are the challenges.
Okay, thank you so much. Would you like to comment on that, Lucy, Esther, before I move to the general challenge with regards to the community?
Yeah, just as Ma'am Tochi talked about it, concerning data, data of great importance when it has to do with contributing to the community, in the sense that, you know, once you don't have data, you can't contribute, and once you don't have data, you won't be able to attend some online trainings, because it is through those online trainings that you'll be able to get some knowledge on how to go about your activities. So data and that same time are the two major factors that kind of limit our productivity. That's it.
Wonderful. I think it cuts across a lot of communities in Africa. It's generally mostly about internet data and connectivity. I think I get similar responses from most of the communities that have engaged on this particular research project. Thank you so much for sharing that. And my next question is about the community. As a community, do you think economy is a limiting factor for the growth and development of Wikipedia in your language? If so, can you describe? So this is generally talking about your community in terms of, do you have plans to expand your scope of work? And then because of maybe some economic factors, you are unable to, embark on certain projects as a language community. Can you share that with us? Like, what are some of the challenges that are affecting you economically? And then how are they affecting you as a community? Okay, please go on, Lucy. I see that you have another point to make.
Okay, another issue we have is internet connection, because most of us may not be able to find ourselves in a community where there is strong internet connection. So this is another issue that we also face, because you don't be able to attend to some of those trainings online or even contribute without having a
Yeah, that is very true. And I can, relate to that as well. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, how about the community in general, the Igbo language Wikipedia community? Do you have economic limitations in terms of the projects that you do? It's difficult for me to hear Esther. Lucy, I don't know if it's from my end. So sorry. I think Lucy got disconnected because of the internet issue we are just talking about. Do you have any response for that, Esther? Tochi, about your community?
Yeah, still the same. UK. So majority of my community members are students. So definitely they are always short on cash and financial resources to be able to contribute effectively. So that brings us back to the internet data limitation, because they would have difficulties because they've not finished sorting out their issues in school. As students, they are, and then talk more of having like normal data to contribute to Wikipedia projects. So that's more like the issue they have. And for us the support system, I don't know if you asked that question, but then I see it as the next, so I'll just go straight to it. the support system we give to them most times is internet data for them to be able to join training sessions and also be able to contribute. And then when we do things like contests, we try to also give them prizes like souvenirs so that everyone can feel like a part of the community.
Excellent. So that answers the support system that you use to cover the cost, like internet and equipment. So with that particular point, do you get other support systems like maybe collaborating with a hub or an institution and getting access to their internet or ICT lab and using their computers and other facilities? Do you get that support as well through like collaboration and partnership?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's collaboration. I wouldn't say it's collaboration, but for example, when we want to do physical meetings and then we pay for a space, they automatically they give us some internet allocation that can help some of our community members.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing and welcome back, Lucy. Yeah, I understand the internet is it's a big challenge for all of us. I totally understand. And so thank you so much for sharing all these insight with us. My next question is, can you estimate how much money you use per month if you use mobile data to contribute to Wikipedia? So on average, how much money do you spend on internet data to contribute to Wikipedia? You feel free to give the answer in your local currency or USD.
Okay, in my local currency, I spend 20 up to 25, 30,000 per month on internet.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so I think you have answered my last question on economy. Now let's go to education. My questions on education will be based on your general, scope of work about educational activity that you've been involved in and how you connect with the educational system in Nigeria. So can you describe the level of literacy or educational level among your community members? So the community members in the Igbo Wikimedia Community, can you describe their level of education? I think Tochi is kicked out. Whilst we wait for Tochi to join us back, I would like to hear your response on this, Lucy and Esther. If you can describe the percentage of the level of education or the literacy rate among the contributors of the Igbo Wikipedia community.
Yes. The literacy level of the community members in the Igbo Wikimedia community, I'll place it on a scale on the average of 70% or 80%. Why? Because most of the people that we usually and civil servants, and talking about, with reference to what Manto talked about, saying that so many various coordinators, and you find out that they coordinate in a higher institution, like we have that's learning. But I will say in total that yes, it's mostly literate, because once someone who is not learned cannot contribute or understand or be able to maneuver when it has to do with all these technical and digital activities. So Yes, they are quite literate enough. Yeah. Were you able to hear me?
Yes, I could hear you. Thank you so much. It was breaking at the beginning, but I could hear everything. And do you have anything to say about that, Lucy?
It was I that talked about that
Okay,
just
please.
finished. Yeah.
Yeah. So how about you, Esther? I think Esther has challenges with the microphone. Okay. So let me move on to the next question. Even though Esther is not muted, I can hardly hear anything. Okay, so my next question is on, so do educational institutions in your region use your language as one of the medium of instruction? Like, do they teach Igbo language at any level in Nigeria? Is it examinable? Is it like one of the government sponsored languages in your country?
Yes, Igbo language is one of the recognized languages in Nigeria and is being taught both in primary school level, secondary school level, and the higher institution, to the extent that people are even studying.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And are you encouraged or discouraged to speak in your language in educational institutions in your community? And in your community, this one, for example, in Ghana, at the basic level, kids are encouraged to speak in their local language at the beginning, but as they go higher, especially to the upper primary level, it becomes like a vernacular. So they are not allowed to speak, you know, the Dagbani language or any other government-sponsored language at that level. But at the tertiary level, they are also encouraged to speak in their language. Can you tell me if this is the same in Nigeria? Like, do they have a level that they encourage students or people to speak the local language, or at what stage do they discourage people from speaking the local language, that is the Igbo language, in their schools or community?
Okay, with reference to speaking the Igbo language in the education, in a learning environment, there's this kind of a change, because as of 2005 or thereabouts, we have these people who kind of think that English language is a super straight language, in the sense that this is what you use to measure the level of intelligence of someone. But at this point now, there's a kind of a clarion call, in the sense that there's this reawakening that Igbos are kind of experiencing. I would like even call it a stage of enlightenment on the Igbo language, in the sense that both those who are outside Nigeria, those who traveled abroad, are always pioneering and encouraging people, both students, both in the and parents, to speak their language and be proud of their language. And when you come to the university, every discussion has its own context. Now, when you have an Igbo lecture, you have an Igbo class, you are not expected to speak any other language apart from Igbo language. So this is also another means of encouraging both speakers of Igbo language to be proud and be able to represent their culture, and by so doing, they are kind of encouraging us to go ahead and speak our language without any shame, because we used to have this kind of inferiority complex, that you see people that if they can't speak English very well, or they even prefer speaking English, telling you that they don't understand Igbo or they don't speak Igbo, thinking that this is the criteria for measuring intelligence. But at this stage now, there's a kind of reawakening and people are encouraged to speak their native language, and people are also encouraged to speak Igbo language, because there are so many opportunities that are now being attached to this particular language. So that's what I see from it.
Wonderful. And I think that is quite similar to what is happening in Ghana. And yeah, the same way, I know for senior high schools and universities, if you are studying Dagbani or any Ghanaian language as an elective or core subject, you are not allowed to speak any other language or English in that particular class. So this is quite similar to what is happening in Ghana. Thank you so much for sharing. And my next question on that would be, do you have any plans, or do you plan to collaborate with other educational institutions? If so, how? Can you share more about them? Are you currently in collaboration with an educational institution? Do you have plans to collaborate with them? How do you want to collaborate with them?
Okay, just as Panto talked about, I coordinate a fan club in a higher institution, and prior to the launch of this fan club, I reached out to students in Igbo department, Igbo language department, and I tried to enlighten them more on the need to digitalize and be proud of our language. And with the way things are going, I'm kind of having another plan that I will kind of include and incorporate both the lecturers and students, so that they'll be able to contribute their own quota on the Igbo Wikipedia page. And by so doing, I have a plan of kind of inter-fan club activity or project, whereby you will involve maybe students of departments of Igbo language from another higher institution, then also invite other people from other Igbo language students from another high institution, and then bring them together, then form a kind of a consensus whereby they are being enlightened more on how they can also contribute to the growth of their language without any feeling of inferiority complex, because the world is going digital. The world is going digital, and there's this kind of call in the digitalizing of indigenous languages, and Igbo language should not be left behind. So that's another thing I kind of have in mind of, and it's a project that is still under review. But once it's approved, it should be launched.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm super excited to hear about the efforts that you are making and how you want to engage educational institutions and students to contribute in the documentation or revitalization of the Igbo language on the internet in Kenya. This is very, very important, and I am hoping that you will get a lot of people coming in to support your cause. Thank you so much for sharing. And then that brings us to the final aspect of the question, which will mainly be talking about the social aspect of your community. In general, we want to understand the diversity within your community. So my question on that is, how would you describe the diversity in terms of gender, age, geography, educational level of the contributors in your community? So you can give us an estimation in terms of percentages. How many people are students, how many are women, how many are between the ages of, let's say, a particular, so older people and younger people, what are the percentage, youth and elderly people, and then the geographic locations where contributors normally come from and where they are mostly based, in that order within your community.
Okay, on a scale of 100, I would say that when it comes to gender, my community is mostly made up of female contributors, and female contributors will be placed on 70%, while male contributors will be placed on 30%. Now, when you come to age, Is mostly made up of youth, but the ones that are there to direct us. You find people that are even old enough to be your grandma, and they are still contributing. And you find people in their middle ages, that from 40 to 45, and dividing it into three. 50%. People in their middle ages will be like about 30%. Then the elderly ones, people in their middle ages will be like about 30%. Then the most elderly ones that you've kind of referred to as grandmas or the likes of it would be about 10%. Now, when you talk about the geographical location, um, the constituent state that made up the eastern part or Igbo speaking states in Nigeria is five different states. Anambra State, which is one of the Igbo speaking states, is has the highest population in my community. Now followed by Imo State, then followed by Enugu State, then followed by Ebonyi, and then Abia State. So Anambra we place let's say 30%. Imo we place no Anambra we place 40%. Imo will replace 30%. Then other states will share the rest of the 30%. So that's how you can qualify it. Then when it comes to educational level, just as I undergraduates and postgraduates, doctorate degree holders, professors, and people who are okay, O-level holders. But on a scale of 100%, you say that undergraduates undergraduate slash graduates, about 60% that made up the community. Then master degree holders and doctorate degree holders, about 30% or thereabout. Then the rest is being shared by O-level holders. So that's how you can um, share it out when it comes to the diversity in my community.
Excellent, wonderful. It's very interesting to know the diversity in terms of like age, gender, educational level in your community. And this is quite similar to some of the communities that I engage, like the Bruni and the Dagbani community. So very, very interesting to learn from your community as well. So the next question I want to ask is, does your community participate in Wikimedia events outside your own community or engage with other Wikimedia communities? Why do you participate in those programs? If you don't, why not? For example, Wikimania, Wiki Indaba, and other competitions like Wikilabs campaigns, do you participate in them? Which are they? And if you don't participate, why don't you participate in some of these campaigns or conferences?
When it comes to participating in various Wiki projects outside my community, I would say that my community is they are always eager to learn something new and bring it home. So when it comes to Wikimania, Wiki Indaba, Wiki Laws, Human Rights, and the rest of it, you find out that so many of my community members are in one way or the other engaged in most of these campaigns. I don't think there's any campaign that is ongoing that my community is not, that you will not find a member of my community in that particular campaign or in that particular collaboration. And most times we usually collaborate with other Wikimedia community. Just as I said earlier, I coordinate a fan club, an Igbo Wikimedia fan club in a higher institution. And there was a time we had a collaboration with those in University of Ilorin during the African Wiki Challenge. So we collaborated with them and it was a success. So when it comes to collaborating or engaging in any wiki related activities, I would say that my community they are always out. The community members are always out to participate and to learn something new, because this zeal and this quest to know something new and to bring it home and teach others, that's one of the things that have been pushing us, and that's why we always kind of find it fun and also enlightening to join in some of these projects and campaigns. So that's it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing this great insight. And I'm happy to learn that your community is involved in most of the Wikimedia conferences and activities. That's really great to know. Can you describe how the community has developed over the last few years?
Okay, just as I said, my community for the past few years, yeah, I would say that this year they recorded a very good high rate in the aspect of their growth and their contribution in the Wikimedia community, both in recruitment of new members and in various projects that are being carried out and in various activities. There's a high rate of growth recorded in this year, 2022. So that's how I'll put it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then what are your top priorities for the future as a community?
Okay, one of the things that our experienced Wikimedians always encourage us to do is they ask us to be open to new ideas and new opportunities and new trainings. They always encourage us to always be open, that we shouldn't restrict ourselves to one particular field or the rest of it. So that's why whenever there is a call for a particular training or a particular volunteering, and they always encourage us to take part, even though we ourselves may feel that we are not qualified enough to apply for it or something like that. At the end of the day, you find out that some of them will be lucky enough to have been shortlisted or to have been nominated